Harvey, the last man that they appointed to protect the Republic was named Caesar, and he never gave up his power.
Okay, fine. You either die a hero, or you
Rank.
live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
What is up? Welcome in. This is Jeremy Schulman. This is Adjust the Ranks. Thank you for joining us. I think my Wi-Fi is crazy. I'm over here in Greece on vacation, but fantasy never rests. I'm here, of course, with Ryan at RyanPros_FF. Ryan, how's it going today, man?
Oh, it's going great. You know, I'm the one usually with the Wi-Fi problems. It's nice not to have them for a change, but I'm sure I'll have them later.
Absolutely, man. And look, we're just doing everything that we can to figure it out. It is August 1st. You probably have a fantasy draft in a week or two or three or four, but we are just starting up Redraft. We've been coming from, Ryan's been coming from the underdog streets. We've been coming from the Scott Fish Bowl and from Dynasty and from all these other tournaments and charity events, which is all great. But now it's time to really focus in and get to the meat and potatoes of all of this stuff. Speaking of meat and potatoes, that's all I've been eating over here in Greece because it's all delicious and I'm sick of it right now. I'm full. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. We're just vamping, trying to fill the final spot of our mock draft. Ryan, what are you thinking here about your mock draft? I know that I am personally going from the 1-5. You are in this one at the 1-12. What are you looking for the back end of drafts at the turn in redraft this season?
I mean, you're looking for either one of the elite guys to fall if you get lucky, or someone like a Brian Thomas, Drake London on the turn. I mean, the best ball community just been eating that one up all summer long with the turn pick because you get two top 13 players, and it just seems like the ideal spot to draft. And hopefully we have a good draft today. I believe we will. But can you believe we have actual football back? Like, we watched Trey Lance take a snap last night. I couldn't believe it. Trey Lance was cooking, by the way. So I'm excited for this draft. I'm excited that football is back. It's incredible.
Listen, Trey Lance was cooking for sure. But what was he cooking against? Sometimes when you cook, if you cook against inferior chefs, then you're going to win every time. Trey Lance, for me, I'm way out. I saw you picked him up in one of our dynasty leagues.
I did.
Back on the Trey Lance train.
I couldn't resist myself. My $4 of fab will never recover from that one.
Listen, I love it. I love it. So here's the deal. We're about to start this up. I think the 102 spot is empty in this one. Everything else is full, but we'll make sure that they don't make any ridiculous picks in these 12 rounds here. But what we're doing is we're doing a full PPR redraft mock draft. So it's pretty standard. Otherwise, 4 points per passing touchdown, not a super flex. And I think it's only one flex position. So 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. Of course, you got your kicker and defense. Probably we're not going to deal with those in the first 12 rounds here. I don't think you should be either, but it's pretty standard. With that said, let's add that back. Let's see if we can get actually ourselves a little bit bigger. Is that possible? Maybe we can go smaller. Anyway, this is what we're doing. Ryan, let's kick it off and begin. All right, and here we are at the top. Let's make sure 102 doesn't do anything crazy. Jamar Chase is the 101, unless, of course, it's Bijan Robinson, right?
Yeah, it's one of those two. I have the luxury of my home league. There's 2 keepers with no like draft consequences where you don't have to give up any draft picks. I have Chase and Bijan, so like I'm living the life out here. I'm still probably gonna lose by like $1 billion.
Yeah. And listen, the auto draft here picks Saquon. We're gonna let it do the crazy auto draft stuff. You always got that one guy in your league, but Saquon Barkley was awesome last year. You're also a Phillies homer, so I'm sure you don't mind that pick right there.
Congrats on Bijan.
Yeah, I'll take that.
You'll take that the 105. That's super value. I don't have any problems with any of the top picks. I mean, Justin Jefferson's the one you could argue the most against because JJ McCarthy hurt. He hasn't thrown a ball in the NFL yet. That's the one you could argue against, but it's still, it's one of those picks you can't really go against this early. We're very early on. You can't make many bad picks up here.
Ashton Genty going very early. I mean, look, I have no issue with those top receivers because we are in PPR. But Ashton Genty at the 106, do you think he's worth that, especially for someone like Jahmyr Gibbs in PPR?
I mean, there were mostly meme accounts out last night, but they were concerned about the Lions offense. I can't get on board with it just quite yet, but I could see the reasoning because I'm higher on Geno than most. I think Geno's actually a really good quarterback in real life.
Love him. Yeah.
Haven't really concentrated yet, but I think Geno. I see the Brock Bowers, 2 Raiders in the first round. Can you believe we got here?
It's crazy. We'll let you think about the
Reality
pick.
now?
Your
I
two
mean-
picks here. But here, you think about your picks. Let me recap what we've done so far. So we got Chase Barkley, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Bijan Robinson. At the 106, Ashton Genty. A little bit of a surprise, but not terrible. Jahmyr Gibbs at the 107, Neighbors 108. Neighbors shooting up boards. We got Brock Bowers at 9, Puka at 10, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 111. And Ryan, you are on the clock for 2 picks, and I think you're probably going to take at least one running back here.
The way the board's shaking out, I should, but I'm really debating against it. I'm gonna go Nico Collins here. I think he's gonna have another breakout year. I think he's gonna finish. He's a ceiling to finish top 2, top 3. I mean, CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase are probably gonna not allow that to happen, but Nico Collins in that offense. The line's not good. They're going to be throwing often. Joe Mixon's hurt. I think Nico Collins is going to have a huge year. And then I'm going to go. Seconds. I really want to double up on wide receiver, so I think I'm going to go Brian Thomas. Dude's just ridiculous.
Yep.
I passed on my RB3 here in Devon Achane, but like you got to prioritize wide receiver early. I think this year, especially the turn.
Yep, I think that's fair. But looking at it, Henry, McCaffrey, Achane. Even someone like James Cook, like I know a lot of people are screaming regression for Cook. I don't see it because there's nothing else there. And Josh Allen is an absolute monster who's going to move the football at all costs. So, look, I don't have a problem with any of those guys. Cook, you don't need to take that early. But you see Derrick Henry, Achane going off the board after your picks. So let's talk about this as I get ready for my second pick. Why don't you take us through kind of your strategy and how you hope the board falls to you here? Again, just as a reminder to all, it's 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex position. We'll assume kicker and defense, but again, not dealing with it here, and just the 1 QB. So with that in mind and those settings in full PPR, what are you looking at here? And we have, I have to turn that off actually really quickly because we're at the round.
I was about to mention, I saw
That's
it.
not
I looked
happening.
at the corner of my eye.
But at the 3-4 turn, why don't you take us through what you're hoping happens next?
I'm hoping for an elite quarterback to fall to me because I think the value is swinging back on them a little bit. I mean, best ball, they've kind of come around to it. If you get a Jalen Hurts, you're probably not going to get Josh Allen. He's probably going to go in the middle of the third. But if you get a Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, I don't know about him right now, but Terry McLaurin might be leaving town. If you get one of these elite guys, especially in a redraft where you could lock in an elite amount of points every week, you have to do it. And it's one of those things with Allen, Lamar. I was going to say something about the tight ends, but you took one right there, Trey McBride. If you could lock in premium points at these positions that people aren't drafting early, you could have a big step up on your league mates.
Yep, 100%. Speaking of those tight ends, I took Trey McBride. I don't necessarily think McBride's going to do exactly what he did last year. So I think he'll probably come down in targets and receptions because it was absolutely insane. But he's got to go up in touchdowns. He only had 3, and one of them was on the ground. So I really think Trey McBride pretty much does what he did last year production-wise because he's going to see more tight end touchdowns regardless of what Marvin Harrison does, whether he improves or not. The computer, their time is up. Let's see. Can we let them auto pick? Lamar Jackson here. Hard to argue with Lamar. You just mentioned him. Do you think 211 is too early, or does that jive with what you're happy with taking Lamar in that range?
It's a little early, but I could see the point in doing it because he's going to score 30 points and have 6 to 8 ceiling games where he just goes out and wins you a week. Josh Allen's the same way. Jalen Hurts with a tush push is also the same way. And Joe Burrow. I mean, especially if you play in a redraft leagues like I do where there's 6-point passing touchdowns, Joe Burrow, that defense, I don't know if Trey Henderson's going to play or not. I really don't know. Shamar Stewart, they worked that out. But still, it's going to be bad. It's not going to be good in Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow's going to throw it done.
It's going to be bad. It's not going to be good. You heard it here first.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and put my money where my mouth is and take James Cook. I just don't see the regression happening. I am happy to take him before Kyron Williams, just because I think injury luck and everything else has been on the side. We know Matthew Stafford is hurt. If Matthew Stafford misses games, that hurts everybody on that Rams offense, and that defense is decent. So look, Kyron could get more work, but I don't know if it's more productive work. James Cook, 16 touchdowns. Are going to do it again? Probably not. But I'm happy to make that bet with an awesome Buffalo defense led by Josh Allen. So what are you thinking here about these running backs? Because I think we can, up to Josh Jacobs makes a ton of sense. But then you get Chase Brown and Bucky Irving, the darlings from last season. You get rookie Amarian Hampton, and then you get Cook and Kyron. Who do you want of that group and why?
I think it's Chase Brown, just for the reasons I stated. He's going to have a monster role. They just cut – who did they cut? I already forgot who they cut. They cut Zach Moss. And
Zach Moss.
Todd Brooks isn't going to be able to be used too much as a rookie. So, the Cincinnati Bengals don't like to do that, especially the Bengals. They don't like to play the rookies. So I think Chase Brown's in for an absolute monster role, and he'd probably be my preferred choice because I think Josh Jacobs, I think that volume is going to start getting to him. It was a lot throughout his career. I'm concerned about Josh Jacobs the most.
Yeah, I hear that, but everyone's picking up Emmanuel Wilson because Marshawn Lloyd is already hurt in camp and working through issues as most running backs do throughout the course of the offseason and the season. So I don't know how that's going to shake out, but Josh Jacobs may be all they have, right? So yes, they may pass more. Yes, the defense may be better. Yes, maybe they're going to use guys like Savion Williams more. Maybe even in the run game, or at least in the super short passing game, right? All of those things are options, and all those things could take away from Josh Jacobs. The one thing is Josh Jacobs keeps showing up and keeps dominating. So I hear that. I do want Chase Brown over Jacobs as well, especially in PPR. But Josh Jacobs is tempting. How about Kyron Cook Hampton? How are you feeling about that group?
I mean, you see, you log on Twitter and people are already panicking about Amarian Hampton's second carry in the league in the Hall of Fame game. I'm not that worried, but I think James Cook's due for some regression. You mentioned that. Kyron Williams, people have been trying to get him to lose his starting job for 2-3 years now, and just hasn't happened, and I don't think it's going to happen. So I think I'd rank it Kyron Cook Hampton because I think it's going to take a while for the rookie to start it up like it usually does.
Yeah, I hear that. And I was just sniped. So we'll go through the next few rounds. But before I, take not Tyreek Hill, tell us about your picks at the turn here.
I mean, we just went over it. We are prioritizing premium production at a position. I love the Kenneth Walker pick, by the way. I thought about it, but
had to.
I think George Kittle has a very clear path to tight end 1. You see all the wide receiver drama happening in San Francisco. I mean, Ricky Pearsall's hurt. Jawan Jennings is hurt, looking for a new deal. I mean, who's Brock Purdy going to throw the ball to? It's just going to be him and Christian McCaffrey, it feels like, at this point. And then Jalen Hurts, what's there left to say? He's going to score 10-plus times on the ground. The tush push is just unrivaled. It's not going anywhere yet. So I think you get 2 players that can finish at the number 1 spot in their position in rounds 3 and 4. You take that all day of the week, every day of the week.
Yep.
A little early.
I have zero issue with the George Kittle pick. That's a great pick at value. I take complete issue with the Homer Jalen Hurts pick over Jaden Daniels, my quarterback 1. What are you doing, Ryan? Terry McLaurin's going to sign next week, and we're not going to even worry about it. And Jaden Daniels is going to go nuclear. Come on.
I think he's leaving town. I honestly, that's the sense that I get because he feels so disrespected after Courtland Sutton got that contract. And you have rookie quarterbacks on such a low salary to be able to pay these guys. And then you say, hey, I don't want to pay this guy. That eliminates all goodwill. That eliminates everything you had going for you in your rookie window. And I think Terry McLaurin's honestly going to end up somewhere else. I don't know where, but I think it's not going to be in Washington. I think they burned the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair, but I don't think anyone wants to pay him. I think Washington knows that this is their window. Jaden Daniels, right? It's essentially 3 years. But how good is this offense going to stay good, right? How long do they have Debo for? Who knows? So I really, really think they need to pay him and just go for it now. McLaurin himself probably only has 2 years. Chalk that up to Debo. I don't know what the heck's going on in that backfield, but if Ertz maybe can gut it out for another year after this year, these guys need to make a run now. So I think Terry needs to stay, but we shall see. I'm on the clock here. Joe Burrow is staring me in the face, but I
Really
also
is.
don't have a wide receiver.
You're going
really,
0 wide receiver. I'm going 0 running back over here.
It's really early to take the guy I want to take, but I think I got to do it. It's Jameson Williams. JMO, I think he's damn near as close to a wide receiver 1 as you're going to get. If he finishes wide receiver 14, I won't be angry because you're getting him at, if you look at the board here, wide receiver 20, 22, 24 prices. He's just an absolute game breaker. He's the guy I want on my feet, on my team every single week because he can win you a week. He will win you 5 weeks over the course of the season. Now, is that going to equate to him being a top, wide receiver in the league? Potentially not. But what you need to consider here is we got a completely new offensive coordinator. We've got, different situations. We're all talking about the decline of the Lions. But what if Jameson Williams is that guy that we all expected him to be and look like he was last year?
He very well could be, and you're lucky it took him because he was going at the turn at one of my picks. I'm extremely high on him as well. I think the Lions are going to do everything to get him involved, and it's going to be a little tough without Ben Johnson there to dial up some plays, but they're still talented, and we'll see what the offensive coordinator has in store. But this running back queue, I might have made a mistake because the well dried up pretty quick.
It did
a little quicker than I expected it would dry up.
Why don't you make your pick and we'll
am I going to take a chance?
Yeah, let's talk about that in a second. Make your picks here, and what we'll do is we'll just take a look at what happened over the last few rounds. So after you picked Hurts, it goes Hall, Kamara, Daniels, Hubbard, Hill, Walker, Rashi Rice, which is an interesting pick. We'll see what happens with him. DK, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton in the 4th. In the 5th, Cortland Sutton just got the bag too. DJ Moore. Could be a value pick, could hurt you. Who knows right now? Sam Laporta, I think that's a little early for team 2. We'll see with the auto pick. James Conner, Tet McMillan at the 5-4. Interesting. Always great to bet on rookies. JMO, as we discussed, Smith, your guy. I'm sure you were hoping he fell to you, but he did not. And you've taken Aaron Jones, and you're going to follow that up with DeAndre Swift. I love it. Talk to us about these running backs.
I mean, DeAndre Swift's case, his role is locked in. He's the starter. They were going to replace him with TreVeyon Henderson. Obviously, that didn't go the way that the Bears wanted to in the draft. So DeAndre Swift is the locked-in starter. And in a Ben Johnson offense, which is getting all the camp hype in the world recently, I think DeAndre Swift's locked in as an RB2. I think he's going to finish as a low RB2. I don't think there's much more ceiling than that, but in the 6th round, when you don't have a running back, you take that every day of the week and twice on Sundays. So
yes, sir.
That's what I'm doing. And then as for Aaron Jones, you just hope he doesn't lose that goal line work to Jordan Mason, which he very well could. That's one of those bets you have to make. I was hoping RJ Harvey was going to fall. It looked like he was going to for a second, but Bernie got me there. And it's gross, but I still like it.
Yeah, I love that. And no arguments with those two guys. Look, we've heard a lot about Jordan Mason taking over and splitting carries with Aaron Jones. I don't care because we're full PPR. I want the pass catching back, right? Mason might score a touchdown. He could go, 20 carries, 70 yards and get you nothing and kind of basically give you 5 points a week. Aaron Jones has that consistent pass catching, volatility that can spike, but also give you a nice safe floor. So I love that. Then DeAndre Swift, similar situation, both on really good offenses. So you nailed those picks, I think. Joe Mixon, we don't know if he's going to play. David Montgomery at the 6-5. We just talked about potential for people in Detroit taking a hit. I think it's more Laporta, Montgomery than the other guys, but we'll see. The 6-6, it was Knicks, then Calvin Ridley, like the pick. He's hurt now. Jalen Waddle. I want to talk for a second about Miami. Ryan, you said you're high on Achane. Tyreek Hill still goes in the 4th round. Jalen Waddle at the 6-8, I think, is a value because in Miami, all of their secondary is now out for the season as of like 2 weeks ago. And of course, they traded away Jalen Ramsey about a month ago. So what are you thinking here about Jalen Waddle and his prospects for this season?
I mean, you're on the same wavelength as I am. If I didn't have to pick 2 running backs at the turn, Jalen Waddle was going to be one of my selections. I feel like the metrics are all there for him. Yards per route run, he's always been one of the best in the league. Same with Chris Olave.
Yeah,
you have a type that you're drafting here. But I think Miami's offense is just going to air it out all season. And it's with the Jonnu Smith trade, it allows him to centralize between those 3 players. And who knows if Tyreek Hill is good after that wrist injury. We'll see if he gets back to form. But Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane are going to have absolutely massive seasons. And in my consensus rankings for Fantrax, I am very high on both of them.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Waddle especially. I just think, he was hurt. So was Tyreek. Tua was out for a bit last season, and it was just kind of this weird situation. Now, at least the Dolphins know who they are. They have to score 40 points to win, and they just got rid of Jonnu Smith. They're not going to give Darren Waller 120 targets or whatever. I think it was 117 that Jonnu had last season, coming out of retirement. If you think that, let's play in a fantasy league together, but it's going to go funnel to these big 3 in Miami. It's, of course, Hill. It's, of course, Achane, and it's Waddle. They don't have anybody else. So if 2 is healthy, I think all those guys eat. After my Waddle pick at the 6-8, we have Caleb Johnson, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, another legal issue we'll see about the suspension, and then Travis Kelce, insane value at the 6-12 going after TJ Hawkinson. Absolutely nuts on Travis Kelce. You got Myers, Pollard, Mahomes, Brian Robinson. I took Chris Olave at the 7-05. You got Godwin, who's hurt. Who knows when he suits up. Debo, Rome, who is a value. I love Rome. Wanted to take him at the 6-8. Judy, Evan Ingram, who I was hoping would fall to me. He did not. Baker, and your 2 picks. Emeka Egbuka, just mentioned Chris Godwin. Who knows? Egbuka is going to be there from day one. Travis Etienne, the biggest value at the starting running back position. Talk to us about those 2 guys.
I'm more hope than actual belief in Travis Etienne at this spot with my running backs. I tried to pick one, and I didn't really want the Giants timeshare. Tyrone Tracy, Cam Scatterbo is going to be a little weird in the rookie year. We don't even know if the offense is going to be good. We could figure the offense in Jacksonville is going to be good. Hopefully Travis Etienne gets, the lion's share of work. Tank Bigsby's been getting all the camp hype. And when I mean all of it, I mean all of it. It's been all going his way. Then you have Bashal Tootin in there as well. So it's pretty crowded. Emeka Egbuka is the one I feel good about, though.
Damn it.
That's tough. The whole tight end run. The run.
It was Mark Andrews for me. I already had McBride, as you can see, but Mark Andrews there would have been an insane value.
He was falling a little too far for me. I looked at him, but with George Kittle, I'm just going to start every week.
Unfortunately, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make you talk about it. Jalen Warren has the potential. Look, we see Jonnu Smith lining up in the backfield in camp next to Aaron Rodgers, but I'll tell you who's not going to be lining up in the backfield next to Aaron Rodgers in passing situations. It's going to be Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson is coming off the field. That man is not going to be standing next to Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers will not allow it. Caleb Johnson just not ready in pass pro, and I don't think he's going to be for quite some time, if at all this season. I think it's Jalen Warren's show more often than not. He's just going to be a security blanket for Rodgers between him and Jonnu. Maybe Calvin Austin, maybe Roman Wilson. They don't have a lot of options there. So I'll take my bet on Jalen Warren being out there more often than not. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. The key to fantasy is always, if you predict these messy backfields right, you're going to win.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jacksonville, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, like if you predict these right and you get the right halfback, you're probably going to win because you're going to get it at such a good value. So I like Jalen Warren. The pass pro, my Caleb Johnson exposure on underdog was getting a little too high. Round 7-8, I started clicking. I'm like, okay, I might want to cool this down a little bit. But Jalen Warren is just so proven in pass pro. He's an Arthur Smith guy. We know this already. And those camp reports on Caleb Johnson have been just bad.
Yeah.
As far as pass pro goes. And if Rodgers gets hit and goes down, no 9-8 for Pittsburgh, you know?
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe. I mean, listen, Mike Tomlin does amazing things, but yeah, it's really kind of crazy to consider what could be for Pittsburgh this season. I'm looking at the board, and I'm going to push QB, which means two things. Either I'm going to take one of the only starting running backs left, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to do this because I'm feeling a little spicy. Let's get a little spicy with Colston Loveland after Tyler Warren. Warren and Loveland in the 9th. I don't think you can go wrong with either of these guys. Loveland, of course, I feel like if he were my first tight end, I'd be worried. He's my second tight end, and I'm just hoping he blows up kind of the second half of the season. What do you think about Colston Loveland for this year?
I mean, first off, can I just say winning in Dynasty football is the easiest thing you can do? I mean, you draft Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey after you win again. You get all these rookies that are getting steam, Colston Loveland, Emeka Buka. Yeah. Like, come on. Is it just that easy? Like,
redraft, Ryan. Redraft.
I mean, I'm not winning all these leagues. I'm in perpetual rebuilds. I'm just having fun out here, you know? But I'm going to make my two picks. I love Colston Loveland. I mean, his metrics were off the charts coming out of Michigan, and he's a top 10 pick. Ben Johnson is going to feature this man. It's just a guarantee at this point.
Yeah.
And think, you know, now they got me talking about it, and I'm looking at the board.
Do it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
All right.
And then I'm going to take a gamble on one of the San Francisco.
I like
it. If you get the San Francisco wide receiver room right this season, you're going to be a very rich person at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because it is 100%. A mess right now with Ricky Pierce.
We all know it's going to be. We all know it's going to be Demarcus Robinson. So can we just like dispense with like
all know it's
all
George
of the other?
That's why I drafted him in the 3rd round. I mean,
yes, the answer is George Kittle. That's correct.
George Kittle is the easiest slam dunk in fantasy this year, in my opinion.
100%. Totally agree with you. I still want Trey McBride, but Kittle, where he's going, like you said, is a slam dunk.
It's ridiculous.
We were talking about Loveland, but talk to us about Luther Burden and the camp hype. How are these guys going to, you know, if Ben Johnson does everything Ben Johnson wants to do and Caleb is fine and the offense is clicking, what do we expect out of Burden especially, but also Loveland?
I mean, I think the ceiling for Loveland is higher in year one, considering the position he plays. And Cole Kmet's a good football player, don't get me wrong, but beating him out as a top 10 pick outside of Luther Burden beaten out, I think Luther Burden's going to get a decent amount of targets in the slot, but you have DJ Moore fighting for the slot, and you have Rome Odunze competing for targets outside. So it's going to be a lot easier for Colston Loveland to get there in terms of fantasy. I just think Caleb Williams is poised to have a huge year. I mean, we all watched that Thanksgiving game last year in absolute disbelief. It was honestly just a malpractice of coaching. And now he gets a competent coach. His O-line is massively improved. And he's right there for you to pick, by the way.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. We were talking about him. I don't mind it because he runs, right? He doesn't run necessarily, he's not Kyler Murray out there, but he runs when he has to run. And I think in this offense, he's going to try not to run. But look, that offensive line is good enough where he could be running around back there, making plays. He's got all the weapons. He's got the scheme. And if he has to, he's going to run the ball as well, to get out of trouble. We saw he can do what he can do with his legs a little bit last year, too. And look, we were screaming from the rooftops about Shane Fraudrin all last offseason after coming out from Seattle, going to Chicago. Lo and behold, surprise, surprise, Shane Waldron is kicked out the door mid-season. Who could have seen that coming, Ryan? I don't know. But Caleb Williams, this guy is going to ball. And I'll tell you what, if you're concerned about Caleb Williams or one of these guys, JJ McCarthy is another guy I love. If you're concerned about those guys, just, grab Anthony Richardson with your final pick.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's going to win the job.
Yeah.
With how he's been performing in camp. And I got to make these two picks here. It's got to the point in the draft where I don't know if I want to make these two picks.
Well, take your time. Let me go through what happened over the last few rounds, especially these especially we're going to talk about these. I almost did it, but you did it. We're going to talk about him in a second. Let's talk about these quarterbacks. You look from the 7-11, you have Baker Mayfield, you got Jared Goff at the 8-12, Justin Fields in the 9th round. What are we doing if Fields, Anthony Richardson, if Fields starts, 14 games, he's a QB1. So Kyler Murray in the 10th, I mean, that's a steal as well, especially because he's going to run around like crazy. Herbert, Purdy, Caleb, and then you see Dak, Drake, May. We got all of these quarterbacks here. So Ryan, we'll talk about your last 2 picks after the draft finishes. But let's talk about these quarterbacks because I am going to double up here. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is with JJ McCarthy. Because I do think that he is studly. But talk to me about these quarterbacks. And, let's pretend you didn't get Jalen Hurts. You're looking at a late round guy. What are you trying to do at late round quarterback?
I mean, rushing upside has always been the key. You mentioned Anthony Richardson. You mentioned Caleb Williams. I mean, JJ McCarthy, Drake May. The report is he's going to try to run less. So we'll see there.
Yep.
But I'm also interested in a guy like Dak Prescott because what is his running back scenario? He has Jaden Blue, Javonte Williams back there. Miles Sanders, he's got George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, who just got a new deal, and then, of course, CeeDee Lamb. He's going to air the ball out, so I love him as a late-round target, especially if your league is 6 points for passing touchdown. I mean, you could punt that and go to Dak, and he'll be a QB1 for you all season. I mean, I like the late-round guys. I don't like the mid-round guys, if I'm being honest. I mean, I like Baker. I like Mahomes, Bo Nix as quarterbacks, but, I don't like the value on them. I say you either...
Totally.
You go for an elite guy like Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and then you punt to the Kyler Murrays, the Justin Herberts, Caleb Williams of the world. Justin Fields was a great value here too, but I think that mid-round and getting a player like, a Mark Andrews, a Colston Loveland that we're looking at in the border, a Jerry Jeudy, someone that can just get a ton of targets. I think you have to take them and you can keep punting quarterback as far as you could go.
Yeah, and that's what I tried to do here just to show, but look, we did 12 full rounds. Anthony Richardson still on the board. So punt QB as long as you want this season. It's incredibly deep. It's kind of like tight end. If you do not get one of the top guys, just push them way down the board, right? Because even when you're dealing with the situation, for example, here where we're shallow starting lineups, right? You want the best players in those starting lineups, but you don't know what's going to happen with injury, right? This is always the problem that we run into here in fantasy. It's injury and ineffective play. We don't know, for example, which defense is going to turn into a pumpkin and be terrible. And, then all of a sudden you get a Cincinnati Bengals situation where everybody goes nuclear. We can guess that that's Miami. That's what we're guessing right now, that defense is going to be horrible. And so you can bank on those guys. But that stuff happens midseason. Injury happens on both sides of the ball. So we don't know what's going to occur. And that's why you want to build that depth at running back and wide receiver always. Quarterback and tight end are both top heavy and deep. So that's my strategy with both of those positions. I mean, you did the same thing. You went early tight end, early quarterback, and then you went late tight end with Kyle Pitts. We got to talk more about Kyle Pitts. What do we think about Penix? What do we think about Atlanta? Drake London, I know we're absolutely in love with, and Drake London here went, at the 2-4. Everybody's in love with Drake London. I think rightly so. Kyle Pitts is still going to see 100 targets, right?
I hope so. I mean, Kyle Pitts is the camp reports that they got me again, man. Every time I'm like, all right, I'm out this year. Because I think I've told this story on this channel once before. The one year I was like the biggest Devontae Parker guy there was, and he kept getting hurt, and it was disappointing early career for him. So I'm like, okay, I'm done with him. And then he goes and puts up a top 12 season. I'm like, really now? Like, what did I do to deserve this? As soon as I got out on him. So, and then the rest of his career was unfortunately cut short due to injury. But Kyle Pitts, this is the year, right? This is the year.
It's gotta be. Has to be.
If it's not the year, it's over. Like it's fully over. Like
everybody assumes it's over. It's probably over, to be fair. But last year, I mean, you were like, oh, he's been bad. Actually, no. He was the tight end 13 2 years ago. He was the tight end 15 last year. Yes, he played every game. He doesn't look good on the field. However, it's translating, right? Only roughly 50 receptions a season, but he's eclipsing 600 yards. If he can just get to 6-7 touchdowns, because Drake London is double covered, because Mooney is healthy and covered, because everybody's concerned about Bijan. This offense is clicking. They got a guy in Penix who can finally throw the football and looks great doing it. I think the TDs can go up. And, I really think the targets go up. I think we probably look at 110. Look at his rookie year, like you mentioned, 110, 68 receptions. Does he get to 1,000? Probably not, but 800 yards with close to 70 receptions, absolutely, for Kyle Pitts. And then he can get to 4 or 5 touchdowns. He's a top 6, top 5, top 4 guy.
It's definitely in the realm of possibilities. Can you pull up his game log? Can we look at the games he played with Michael Penix? Because those are important. Those are the ones that are going to really matter when it comes to the
is
end.
It the last 3, 4?
I think it was 3.
This one. It might
he came in halfway through the Raiders game, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
I think Kurt got benched during that game because it was a Monday night game, and I remember it was like a big thing.
Yep.
So, I mean, you look at that 0.7, 1.7, 14.4. That's a decent finish, but that 3.5 at the end really concerns me there against Carolina. Tight end 43, 44% of the snaps. I mean, that game was. Wait, I might be confusing that. I thought that game was a shootout. Yeah, that was a shootout. Drake London finished as the wide receiver 1 that week in week 18 when it didn't matter. It's just
he's been objectively bad, right? Like if we're looking at this, we're like, ooh, we want this Kyle Pitts from week 5 through 8, but he played Tampa twice, played Carolina, which is why we were expecting a good week 18, but didn't matter because fantasy was over, and then played Seattle. So was not playing good defenses there, which is kind of why he went off. At the same time, right? Kirk was in and out. It was just a tumultuous season. Now, hopefully, the ship is righted. Mooney is hurt, right? Already. So there's lots of things that are leaning towards Kyle Pitts. You mentioned talking him up in camp. The fact that Michael Penix came out and said, we're going to be throwing the ball to Kyle a lot.
That was unprompted too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That wasn't like a reporter bait question where it says, talk about Kyle Pitts. He just brought him up.
Kyle Pitts doesn't have to be a good route runner to catch 60, 70 passes in this offense. And I think that's what people are missing, is that Bijan Robinson is elite. Drake London, the way we're drafting him and what we expect of him at the 2-4 in this draft, PPR, is elite, right? Michael Penix, by all accounts, is elite throwing the football. Maybe he doesn't get you there for fantasy points, especially in a 4-point per passing touchdown. Maybe he struggles because he's essentially a rookie out there. But Michael Penix has looked damn good. And we know that Zach Robinson is elite when it comes to calling plays. So everything is in place for Kyle Pitts to do well. We've said this before, but I'm like you. I'm going back to the well one more time.
I think this is the year. I mean, I traded him away in my own dynasty league, so it's probably going to be tight end 1 year for him now. But you have to buy into these good offenses. I mean, you see down here, Michael Pittman, it's kind of a rough ask. Mason Taylor's been performing well in camp. Tucker Kraft is in a very crowded situation, especially Darnell Mooney's injury, like you said. It's Kyle Pitts, it's Drake London, and it's Bijan Robinson. Like we all thought it was how many years ago at this point. Yeah. And he's going to need to beat him the targets. And I don't see there's a way he doesn't get there because it's been in his career, but if what we're projecting happens, he's getting there 100%. So I can't quit, man. I'm going to go send out trade offers for him right after this. You've inspired me.
Do it, but you're not getting them from the leagues we're in together where I have them. So.
I have them in the one.
I think I was going to say I think in those leagues you have them anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So I got the one up on you.
Let's do 2 things here, and then we'll wrap it up. The first thing we're going to do is I am going to put you on the spot here with a couple of running back rooms, and I'm just going to ask you who you prefer at cost. You can see some of the costs here on the board. Some of the costs are not on the board because these guys haven't been drafted, like our first running back room, the Dallas Cowboys. Jaden Blue at the 10.02, Javonte Williams at the 10.10, or Miles Sanders, who I believe, looking at the board, is undrafted. Who do you like at cost?
Well, this is a terribly hard question because, I wish I could answer none of them, but I can't.
You can't. No.
I mean, it's got to be the cheapest guy. It's got to go Miles Sanders. He might be done.
Yeah.
I am a little in on Javonte considering, it takes a while to come back from those knee injuries, and he wasn't, that the same
Agreed.
guy he was before the injury in Denver. And maybe he might be back, and maybe he might win the starting job, and maybe he might produce as an RB2 and, win some weeks for you because Dak's going to move the ball. And if he gets in goal-to-go situations, Javonte's going to be the guy that's coming in. And he's going to score touchdowns. So I think it might be Miles Sanders just because of how cheap he is. He's undrafted here. He's going a couple of rounds later on underdog. But Javonte Williams might take this job and finishes RB 22, 23, 24 with touchdowns. I think we might be regretting not drafting him in the 10th round.
Yeah, he should. I mean, and look, if Javonte's out there as much as we expect someone to be out there, look, I don't know if it's Jaden Blue. Maybe he's not. Apparently, he's not lazy anymore, according to today's reports. But if it's Javonte, he's gonna be out there a lot, and he's gonna catch at least 30 balls. He might hit 40, right? And so if that's the case, he's probably a guy you should have taken in the 4th round. He's gonna do what we all want Chuba Hubbard to do, and he may very well be in a better offense. So we'll have to see with that. Here is your second one. It is Travis Etienne. You took him at the 801. Tank Bigsby, Mr. Camp Hype himself, at the 1008. That was my selection. Or Bashal Tootin at the 12-9. Which value do you like the best?
This one's confusing because Liam Cohen, last year he used that running back rotation when Bucky was clearly the best guy for the job. It was very obvious when you're watching. I mean, Sean Tucker did have that one huge week. I'll admit that.
I love Sean Tucker. I'd take him every
time. He 40 points against the Saints or something crazy like that?
Yeah.
That was an insane week. But I think I got to go Travis Etienne here. The ankle sprain. It's just I'm buying these guys off of injury. These guys were elite draft picks coming out of college. I know it's not a couple of years past that now, but he might be the Bucky Irvin for these guys, while Tank Bigsby might get the goal line work. I don't know if you want any of these guys, honestly. This is the one. Dallas, you want to draft somebody because someone's going to be on the field and they're probably going to pick somebody. But Liam Cohen has a history of rotating these guys in and out, and he has 3 guys that could perfectly do that in different roles here. So I'll take Travis Etienne for the pass catching upside, but I really don't want any of these guys.
No, I hear you. I do want Travis Etienne because I think he has the potential to be the starter, but we're seeing Tank Bigsby, best shape of his life, camp stuff, and apparently
makes Etienne a buy in Dynasty right now. I think Etienne's firmly a buy. If you get him for like a mid to late second, I'm doing that 100% of the time, and I'm living with the consequences,
100%. We're going to go faster through some of these. So give me your quick take. Cam Scatterbo, 803, or Tyrone Tracy, 91.
I'll take the mystery box with Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah, totally agree there. You got to go rookie in that situation, even though Tracy's the pass catcher. Maybe Mr. Scrappy Cam Scatterbo himself can do something there for you. Let's turn it to another one of your picks. Aaron Jones, 512, or Jordan Mason at the 809.
I'm actually going to say Jordan Mason here. I think he's going to win the job. I honestly do. He's going to get that goal line work. It's going to be valuable in Minnesota if JJ McCarthy moves the balls. We hope he does. So I think Jordan Mason's going to score double-digit touchdowns this year, and I want him at cost.
Really hard to argue that. How about the guy you were talking down earlier, Omarion Hampton in the early 3rd at the 303, or Najee Harris at 1011, Mr. JPP firework injury himself. If you don't know, Najee has a superficial eye injury. He has not practiced since camp.
Yeah, I think it's Omarion Hampton by default because we honestly don't know how bad that Najee eye injury is. Like if Najee was okay and this is the values, it'd be Najee 200% of the time, but you have to take Omarion Hampton. It's just there's too big of a risk with Najee right now.
Yeah, please do not take Najee Harris in your drafts. I don't care when he comes back to practice. Look, we're talking about all sorts of things. He's got an eye still, which is good. That's about all we know. And there has been no surgery. That's also good. Nothing penetrated the eye. But of course, you're talking about depth perception. You're talking about clear vision. These things are all a concern still. And Najee Harris has only been photographed in gigantic
sunglasses,
your grandma's blue blocker sunglasses, trying to keep light out of that eye. So it's a scary situation.
By the way, I can't believe that's how
Yeah.
that news broke. That was ridiculous. That's crazy.
Absolutely wild, but trying to keep it under wraps because this guy just signed a deal, which is great for him. But of course, if it's his fault, who knows? NFL teams do all sorts of crazy voiding deals lately. So whatever. We have to talk about two more backfields. There's a lot to talk about, such as J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. Just pick one of those real quick. R.J. 5'8", J.K. 1007.
That's RJ Harvey. I think he's going to do spectacular things in that backfield. He's going to get the lion's share. Sean Payton's done that. He's going to run through one guy.
Totally agree. Joe Mixon in Houston, 604. Nick Chubb at 1206. Woody Marks not drafted.
Joe Mixon in the 6th round. If he comes back healthy, you take the risk, and he wins you your league in the 6th round probably. So,
yeah, agree. Nick Chubb seems by all accounts to be done. Even if you're reading through the lines of the coach speak from why am I blanking on? Who is it?
D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico. I was thinking Ricky Morris.
He was basically like, he's old.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
He basically paraphrased in with paragraph that he's old and he's probably done.
I think he said something like "time comes for everyone" or something. You're like, "Oh crap, that's no good. That's no good for Nick Chubb. Don't draft him." And then, of course, we have to talk about Cleveland. Who is Quinshon Judkins? Of course, he's a value right now, assuming if he signs and is a member of the team. He hasn't done that yet. Quinshon at the 810. Dylan Sampson at the 1203. Jerome Ford undrafted. Who do you want?
Look, I overdrafted Dylan Sampson so many times on Underdog before the draft, and I'm still going to take him because the Judkins situation is just so murky. Like, if Judkins sits out the year and I luck into a bunch of Sampson fantasy points, it wasn't out of a good draft pick. It was just, football being football. So I'm going to take Dylan Sampson. I just can't trust Judkins at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sadly, we wish we could trust Judkins, but maybe he is not a Brown. I've heard people say, he can't play college football, but maybe he just re-enters the draft next year after he handles all this business. I don't know. But it's something I want to stay away from.
Shamar Stewart was going to do that for a hot second there with Cincinnati.
It's just bad. It's just bad. Let's answer a final question, Ryan. We're going to go position by position. I will start to give you some time here. We're going to start with quarterbacks, and I'm going to ask you for a sleeper. I'm going to go ahead and pick Anthony Richardson. We see what he's doing in camp. He's going to start climbing up boards as August progresses. He's going to get into the 13th, 12th, 11th round because the camp reports are going to keep coming out. We're assuming no injury issues, no Daniel Jones had a great day issues, and everybody's relatively healthy. That Colts defense is horrendous, right? Which is why Anthony Richardson is looking so good. But it doesn't matter if Anthony Richardson plays. Anthony Richardson is a QB1, and he does not need to throw the ball well to do it. We saw this last year. So he is my sleeper at the quarterback position. Ryan, who are you looking after in the double-digit rounds toward the end of your draft at quarterback? Who do you want to take?
So I'm going to go with another guy that's kind of, I think the same draft class. I'm going to go with Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is a legitimately good quarterback. And I think Dave Canales started to unlock him at the end of that season. He put together a string, a couple of good games. He has Ted McMillan now, and I think it's, the rocket ship is pointing up for Bryce Young. I think he's going to have a spectacular season and prove to people he's a franchise quarterback. So he's a guy I've been drafting late. He also has rushing potential. So I'm excited for his year with Ted McMillan and, all those other guys.
I love that. And Jatavian Sanders, I think he's kind of an interesting value as well. Assuming he's healthy and ready to go, I think that offense is potent. Don't forget, he's injured now. But Adam Thielen, who's not injured, but should be injured any day now because he's my age, because he's an old man out there at 34. But don't forget, Hunter Renfrow is also in this wide receiver room. We got Xavier Legette. We got Jalen Coker, who busted out last year. So this is shaping up to be a decent set of weapons, especially with Chuba. Dowdle is capable. So they have a nice set of weapons here. I love that call for Bryce Young. Let's move to the running backs, and I'm going to go ahead and take a last round pot shot on Braylon Allen, getting all the camp hype in Jets camp. They hate Breece Hall. I don't know why they hate Breece Hall. Breece Hall is an absolute animal. Apparently they don't like him. The Jets' offensive line, not good, but Justin Fields is a running quarterback. He is going to open up rush lanes a la Lamar. It's the reason why Derrick Henry works. It's the reason why Saquon went nuclear last year, because these running quarterbacks, yes, they steal some touchdowns, but if they're not built like Anthony Richardson, they don't steal all of the touchdowns, and these guys can get some extra work. So Justin Fields is a slight guy. He's already got an injury, but he's still going to open up those rush lanes. And I think Braylon Allen is interesting, especially if he's able to get a share of the work. Braylon Allen, yes or no?
Yeah, I think Aaron Glenn's going to commit to the committee, and I'm glad I got off most of my Brees Hall shares because
Fair.
it's not looking too good. I mean, I drafted him in our startup in the 4th round, so I'm kind of regretting that one a little bit. But I think Aaron Glenn is going to fully commit to this whole not Gibbs Monty thing, but something different, just like a committee with Braylon Allen. I think Isaiah Davis is actually really good, the 3rd string back. He was impressive in his short work last year. So I think he could factor in a little bit as well. So I'm very concerned for Brees Hall.
Yeah, agree. And I think Allen is already a little bit hurt, so Davis is getting some extra run. Allen back today, just knee soreness. But yeah, Davis getting extra run, and Davis looks good every time he touches the ball, like you said. But I don't think he should be touching the ball if Brees and Braylon are healthy. We will see. Who do you like at running back as a sleeper, Ryan?
There's so many of them. You could basically list everyone that was drafted last year, and I'd have them as a sleeper because it's just one of those running back classes. But I'm gonna go with Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers. I
love it.
I think he might get the goal line work because they don't want to give that to DeAndre Swift. I think he could beat out Roshan Johnson, and if this Bears offense is as good as we think, Monangai could have a fantasy impact as soon as this year. So I'm looking for him. They desperately wanted a new guy. We all know this. I've said it before on this episode. They wanted Travion Henderson so bad, and your Patriots came and scooped him right up. So
they sure did.
I think,
thank God.
I think they're going to try some things out in Chicago, and I think Monangai might be one of those guys that benefits greatly from it.
Yep, I love that. Speaking of my Patriots, we're moving on to wide receiver, and I am going not with the guy that you drafted, Kyle Williams. I'm going with Pop Douglas, all the camp hype that you could possibly want. He came out, and I don't know if he actually said it because I didn't see the clip. I just saw it on Twitter, and he said, "You're all used to some white chocolate in the Josh McDaniels offense. Now enjoy some dark chocolate." He's going to absolutely crush if he gets that Wes Welker role that he's already said he's got. So if that's the case, Drake May, we know we're going to look to him. Pop is explosive and bursty in short areas, right? He's not a long speed guy. But that's why we have Kyle Williams now, right? That's why Travion's coming out of the backfield. Hunter Henry, super reliable. Stephon Diggs, right? So Pop Douglas, look, I don't think he's going to be someone who is going to go off each and every week, but he can be a reliable guy who gets you, 6, 7, 8 targets a game. And then if he gets in the end zone, he's that Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, wide receiver 2 easily on the week. So I like Pop.
I totally agree with you. I was going to shout him out too. I think in PPR he's going to be a monster for Drake May. I think he's going to get all those targets, and he's always been a good player. Like, don't let the quarterback situation in New England fool you. He was always good. So rooting for him. I'm looking around, and I'm looking at my consensus ranks, and I don't have anything that kind of majorly stands out here as like a stand away above ADP. I think I might go with Quentin Johnston. I think he started to put
I was thinking it, to be fair. I agree.
I think he's starting to figure it out. Wide receivers take time. I just wrote about this, actually. We get spoiled with the Brian Thomases of the world, the Lad McConkeys that come in and finish as a wide receiver 1 right away. I mean, JSN took a year to figure it out. I know Quentin Johnston, the hands are kind of rough, and you want that to improve, but I think for a deep sleeper with potential in an offense, if he beats out Trey Harris, which he very well could in his rookie year, I think Quentin Johnston, he's still going to be a starter outside anyway. So it's not my favorite take out of these sleepers here. It's probably my least.
I love it.
So I'm going to roll with it. Then we're just going to both say Kyle Pitts for the next one, right?
We are not, because Kyle Pitts is going to go before the 10th round, I would imagine. When did you take him in this draft? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was 10-11 or 10-12.
Yeah, well,
11-12.
Yeah,
it counts.
Yeah, you can't take Kyle Pitts, but QJ, I love the call. I'm going to take Zach Ertz Zach Ertz was fully healthy last season in 17 games. Do you know where he finished among tight ends? Tight end what?
It's
PPR.
probably like tight end 13.
Tight end 7. Tight end
Wow.
7 because 91 targets, 66 receptions, 650 yards, and 7 touchdowns in this offense. Now you add Deebo Samuel. Maybe he steals some targets away, but Jaden Daniels is that dude, right? He's just absolutely going to crush. So I really think Zach Ertz, look, I'm going to take the gamble on him staying healthy and playing every game again. Ben Sinnott, I think, is ready, but this is a Trey McBride situation where Zach Ertz was holding him back because he's just a very good tight end. This is like Jason Witten played for 100 years because, look, I'm not saying Zach Ertz is, you love him because he's a former Philly guy. He's not a Hall of Fame tight end, but he's pretty damn good. He might be. He's almost close to a Hall of Fame tight end. He's not going to get there. But
they do that for baseball. The Hall of Very Good. It's a Twitter account.
Yes. But
so
what's interesting is 7 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin's not in camp, so maybe he misses a little bit of that. He's going to come soon. Don't worry about it. Deebo is not going to do what Deebo used to do. Zach Ertz is just Mr. Reliable in the middle of the field. And if you think a Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt or whatever his name is going to come in and take over a ton of that work. I mean, he's not a pass catcher, right? So it's Austin Eckler or bust, and Eckler's as old as Ertz is. I'll take the shot on Zach Ertz all day.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, especially if Terry McLaurin, who I think ends up leaving. Zach Ertz and Deebo Samuel are going to have to fill such a huge void in that offense. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Zach Ertz is worth the price late. You're going to like this one because I was scrolling through my rankings. I wanted to see who I had higher. I'm going to go with Hunter Henry. I mean, he had almost 100 targets last year. Of course, the offense was kind of void outside of him and Drake May and, Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte. But now he gets a little bit of support around him. Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams, Pop Douglas is still there. I mean, if he gets the touchdown luck, we're talking about him as a much higher draft tight end this season.
Oh, yeah.
98 targets. I think he only scored twice. Yeah, he only scored twice. Less than Trey McBride. Of course, that could be more attributed to the offense not being so great. But if the offense is better, he catches 5 to 6 touchdowns. He has that 100 targets, same season. He's a value for where he's going. He's going, I believe, after tight end 20. So I'm in on Hunter Henry this season.
Yep, agree with you there. I just think it's too many mouths to feed, especially with Travion there. But I'll ask you this. How many games last season did Hunter Henry have 8 or more targets?
It's unfair because I'm looking at it. So
it
was a good bit.
Well, stop looking at it and guess.
I pulled up the sleeper card to remember how many touchdowns and how many targets he had. Yeah. So it wasn't off the top of my head. So I was looking at it. It was a good bit though.
Yeah, it's 7 games, right? So more than a third of his games, he had 8 or more targets in a game. Diggs takes that away. Henderson takes that away. The new scheme probably takes that away. But Hunter Henry is still a reliable target, and Drake May loves throwing the football.
To be fair,
Drake May's going to run less, right? At least that's what he says.
Yeah, I was going to say, to be fair, most of my tight end values are not doing too hot this offseason. I mean, Juwan Johnson's hurt. Yeah. Mike Gesicki, I mean, he had Noah Fant. So, like, a lot of these tight end sleepers are not doing too hot. I mean, Mason Taylor could have mentioned, but yeah. You could be right there. I do have Hunter Henry as tight end 13. It might be a little too high. But I don't know. I have him above Dallas Goedert, Dalton Kincaid, Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland's the one I'm probably going to change. But
yeah, I mean, he's going to be on the field a ton. That's the thing. So look, I have no issue with it. And so those games where he had those targets, tight end 2, 7, 6, 8, 10, and 7 on the week. But like you said, just the 2 touchdowns. So if everyone's covering, he's going to be the forgotten man, right? You have to have eyes on Travion at all times, right? In this offense. If Pop is running option routes from the slot, you got to watch out for him. Of course, you're looking out for Diggs. Kyle Williams going deep. Hunter Henry's the forgotten man. 8, 10 touchdowns. Why not? I'm on board.
I hope he does for both of our sakes. Because tight end is the depth's there, but once you get to like tight end 18, I mean, Isaiah Likely was my tight end 18 before my rankings update. He got hurt. So like
not anymore.
A lot of these guys, once you get past 12, which you won't have to worry about in redrafts, this is more of a dynasty thing because a lot of people don't take backup tight ends in redraft unless you're crazy like me, I don't know if you know this, but I think it was 2019 in my home league. I was rocking the double flex, Rob Gronkowski and Tyler Eifert when they were tight end 1, tight end 2. That was so much fun, man.
That's the way to go. That's the way to go. But listen, here's the way to go. Don't draft those guys. Instead, just make sure you get an early tight end like we did in this draft. Trey McBride for myself at the 208, George Kittle for yourself at the 312. Then, of course, take the upside tight end you believe in later. Loveland at the 905 for me. Kyle Pitts at the 11-12. You sure did get him. He would be the sleeper pick for us this season. I think he'll probably go closer to the 9-10 turn than the 11-12 turn. I'm still fine with it with Kyle Pitts, and I've already done that a couple of times this year. Last thing I'm going to ask you here, these tight ends. I love Evan Ingram. He's the guy that in that middle round I'll happily select. I do like the Travis Kelce value. Based on these values here on the board of these tight ends, who's someone not early and not super late, someone in the middle that you don't mind taking?
Good thing you said not early and not late, because I was going to say George Kittle. I don't know if this is a hot take. I just want to get this off real quick.
It's awesome.
I think George Kittle should be going where Trey McBride is. I'm not saying Trey McBride should be bumped down, but I think George Kittle should be right behind A.J. Brown right there.
And he
won't,
right in that range. And he won't go there. He will never go there. It won't happen.
I know.
So
it's ridiculous. He's going to finish as a top 3 tight end guaranteed, basically, with all the injuries.
Awesome.
And so you went with Evan Ingram. I'm going to go with TJ Hawkinson. I mean, JJ McCarthy's young quarterback. He's going to be looking TJ Hawkinson's way a ton. He was rehabbing from that injury still a little bit. And now TJ Hawkinson's back at full strength. I don't like the offenses for the middle guys. Mark Andrews, you could argue, but Njoku, Cleveland's offense is going to be pretty bad. And then Jonnu, who knows what's going to happen there? It was going to be Jonnu before he ended up in Pittsburgh, honestly. If he was in Miami again, it was going to be him again. But I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson. I think he's going to command a ton of targets. And, he's in the middle rounds, but I think it's the right value.
I love it. Perfect. Well, we're going to wrap up there. This has been Just the Ranks. Thank you very much for joining us here on August 1st. We're going to be doing all redraft. It was PPR today. We'll mix it up. We'll do a little half PPR tomorrow, maybe some deep starting rosters as well. But we'll always get you 12 rounds. We'll always get you some sleepers as well. Ryan will be on at least one more show, but probably a lot more. If you want to jump in with myself, Ryan, with everybody else from Adjust the Ranks, you can join our Fantasy Football Universe Discord. That link is always available. We usually put it in these YouTube videos, so that will be available too. You can always click it and join and just talk some ball with us. We're always in there talking about trades, values, etc. And the other thing that you should do if you like any of this content is follow us. We're on all socials. We're over on X or Twitter. We're over on YouTube, of course. Those are the main ones, but we got a TikTok account. We got Instagram. We're here, there, and everywhere, just hustling, trying to get the content straight to you to help you win your league. So, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, is there anything that you're working on right now that you want to plug for us?
Yeah, I'm working a part of the Fantrax NFL Draft Kit. I'm doing a couple articles. I did a Dynasty Strategy article the other day. I thought that was one of my better pieces of content, and so I'm really happy with that. I'm going to keep writing as the season goes on, but you can find me here.
Absolutely. And being in multiple leagues with Ryan, multiple Dynasty leagues, he's consistently sniping me and getting the better end of trades with all the guys who I want those pieces from. So, he's an absolute shark. Make sure you stay away from him in those leagues. But that'll do it for us. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us. I am Jeremy. This has been Adjust the Ranks, a part of the Fantasy Football Universe, and we will see you next time.
Mock, yeah, ing, yeah, bird, yeah, Mockingbird.